everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Coping Together. I'm your host, Faith, with the Mental Health Association of Central Florida, here to talk to you about all things related to mental health, COVID-19, and how we're all going to get through this journey together. And we've talked recently a little bit as we've entered into the new year about, New Year's resolutions, things like that. And as we start off in the new year, a lot of us have a goal of maybe eating healthier, or maybe we're just having a goal of wanting to be kinder to ourselves. And I think one of the best ways that we can do that is through our nutrition. And so, with that being said, very excited to welcome back a guest who you all may recognize, Gabrielle Taffer. Did I say it right?
For you. Yep.
Gabrielle Taffer, sorry about that, who again is a private practice dietitian who's going to be here today to talk to us about this topic. So, Gabby, how are you today?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. It's nice to have you back. And so I guess I'll just go straight into it and ask you as a dietitian, how does nutrition, or I guess, does nutrition affect our mental health first and foremost?
Absolutely. I cannot think of one way that it doesn't affect our health. And as far as our mental health goes, I think you've mentioned in the past with me, it goes as far as, how we look at ourselves and our body image to our literal health, our inside functioning organs and everything, our brain. It's integrated into everything.
I think you're absolutely right. And if you're not able to, it's totally okay. But are you able to kind of elaborate a little bit on those effects of like unhealthy food versus healthy food on the brain and kind of how it affects our mental health?
Sure. So, I mean, the joy of nutrition is you can go as in depth as you want. So, depending on your background and how curious you are, it seemed into as far like I'm sitting outside, for example. I'm getting a little bit of vitamin D. So, again, helping our immune system, for sure, your mental health, because as we know, there's things called seasonal depression. Um, then as far as our hydration, that affects how well we're, kind of coping throughout our day. Are we alert? Are we mentally aware of what's going on? Are we performing in our physical activities as much as we want, or as much as we're able to? It extends into muscle repair. I know personally I'm in the fourth trimester of pregnancy, so they call it. So it's my daughter is now almost 12 weeks, and nutrition specifically has been a huge, huge factor into not only my health and my strength regaining, we'll say, but in my daughter's health as far as feeding her, and my mental health, making sure I'm able to care for a child. If I'm not nourishing myself because I'm exhausted, or if I'm not hydrating, it can just absolutely cause havoc on our day. So I don't think there's one area that really it does not extend to.
I know a lot of people. I myself am a graduate student, and I know a lot of people, I mean myself included, where we'll get so busy, so wrapped up in what we're doing that we'll forget to drink water. We'll forget to eat lunch, we'll forget to do these things. And I don't think that people really do think I mean, I myself do this. We don't really think about how much that's impacting not just our bodies, but our brains too. I know for me, if I haven't had enough water, I'll get a headache first and foremost, and I'll want a nap. But I have more trouble concentrating, and it's the same thing with when you haven't eaten. And if you eat the wrong foods, I'm assuming that may do may not do much good at all if you're eating the wrong foods in terms of helping you feel better in your brain or your body or even your mental health.
I, Sorry, there's some background noise.
I'll edit it out.
Um, but so what I was going to say was that I have noticed a significant difference when I get absolutely exhausted. So to your point, as a graduate student, during those first few weeks of having my daughter, we had no time to cook, prepare food, and honestly no time to sit and feed myself. So I thought to myself, a great invention right now would be some kind of tool that fed you while you fed a baby, as a side note. But there were times where I was literally absolutely exhausted. And from there, it affected my appetite. So I was turning towards very unhealthy foods, fast foods, because they were there and they were convenient, but they were very non-nourishing. So I found myself in this sick cycle of just having no appetite. And the only thing that was triggering my taste buds in order to kind of cue me to eat more were those salty, highly processed foods. And I knew that I had to eat because I needed to, of course, nourish myself and have energy. And so I think a lot of us fall into that trap and that sick cycle where we just lose sight of what we're eating. I've noticed that when I've started to incorporate back physical activity, I get hungrier. And so many of us see that as a negative. We see that as this, oh my gosh, it's counterintuitive to my goals and my progress. I love it. I love that I actually feel hungry because I'm starving. I'll eat a green bean. I'll eat some peas if you put them in front of me. I'll eat a bowl of spinach. I don't care. But it's
You're
definitely
so
cringe.
hungry. Just give me the food. I don't care what
Yeah,
color it is.
exactly. So for me, I think that's almost easier because I'm not fighting this. "Oh, I'm not really hungry. I'll just eat a cheeseburger," because it was only a few weeks ago that that was right where I was. So, of course, that affects our mental health on so many other levels. If you look at the biochemical constituents for that, there are so many components within those processed foods that affect our brain health and can lead to different, you know, um, I'll say chronic illnesses, Alzheimer's, dementia, are directly linked to factors within our food.
And just kind of adding to that, I think that, like you said, we get energy from it. It benefits our health, and we've definitely talked. We've thought about ways that the things we put in our body affect, or the things we put in our body affect our physical health, our body. But I think a lot of times we go for that like that quick fix. And I don't judge anybody for doing it. I drink coffee. I'll
Oh
drink
yeah.
soda. But I think one of the things that we forget, and I guess I want to ask you, and my mom always says this to me, that water can be so like nourishing for you and so revitalizing. And yet a lot of us, especially in college, our go-to is to get the energy drink or drink the coffee. I mean, is it outweighing the benefits of if we were just drinking more consistent water?
I will say there's no competition to water, especially because hydration is not only good for just, like you said, feeling a little bit alert, having that fluid in your body to perform. All of our body processes are activated by water. So if we don't have water, we're literally delaying these body processes. We're delaying our mental acuity. And from there, a lot of people confuse the term hydration with simply water. And so when you're eating healthier foods that have high water content, such as fruits and vegetables, they also contain natural electrolytes. And so from there, you'll see that many of those are also linked to our mental health. Magnesium is one of them, calcium, phosphorus, all of those electrolytes are saving us. They're keeping our brains healthy. They're just fueling us from the inside out.
Just thinking, hearing you say that makes me jump back to like being a kid when, if we had parents or caregivers who would make a lunch for us, I always had an apple in my lunch. Every day I had the cut up apple. And I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, wow, I should probably eat an apple later. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a reason they would put it in our lunches. It helped give us the energy. As much as we all love that, like the cosmic brownie or the
Oh,
I know, right? It gave you nostalgia there, didn't it?
yes.
As much as we might love those things and they taste really great, I think that goes back to that instant gratification. Whereas the apple, it may not taste as great as the brownie for people like me who have a sweet tooth,
I
but it
do.
it might be more right. It might be more beneficial in the long run, would you say?
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually had this apple sitting on my counter for over a month. And so today I was so hungry. I was like, I'll just eat anything. I mean, I was washing this thing and the skin was like separating from the inside. That's how old it was. But I was like, I'm hungry. I'm going to do it. So I threw it in my salad. And I mean, the volume that it provides as well, because of that high water content, is like a twofold win. It's unbelievable. And to your point, those brownies and things taste good, but I appreciate them so much more on days like this when I know it's a treat and I can have them because I've had my vegetables, I've had my fruits. So it's just much more relaxing. It's a relaxing enjoyment versus a guilt-filled indulgence. And I think a lot of us, in order to maybe help with the guilt associated eating, if that's something that you're suffering from, or any of these kind of intentions behind how we perceive our eating patterns, um, that's, namely the most important part is just reshaping our mindset around those. And, like you said, the apple's probably not as good to taste, but your future self will be able to enjoy that brownie much more. So you get a lot more than taste out of the brownie now. You get that literal fulfillment of, I did the right thing, I'm proud of myself, and those are probably worth way more than the brownie right then and there.
I think it's really nice that, we're sitting here and we're talking about this. And while some people are able to do it, I know for me, I can't just ever cut out like I love chocolate. Like I've probably loved chocolate since I was probably your daughter's age. Like we're a little bit around there. And for a lot of people, I think that when we think about eating healthy, we think, okay, that's it. I can never have chocolate again. I can never have this again. And I think that that adds, we've talked before in a previous video of like that stress that we put on ourselves. And it sounds like what you're saying is like, sure, yeah, you could do that, but you also can eat right, have that moderation, and enjoy that brownie.
Yes. Yeah, during the pandemic, I really fed into my love for sweets a little bit too much. So I fully took advantage of being pregnant and being home. And so I think I baked something different um, every single day, all sweet, nothing savory. And it wasn't as great towards the end because not only did I know I have to work all this off at some point because, that's our mental health and that's what I tied into, the eating. But it was, it lost its kind of magic glimmer.
Yeah.
So there was a point where I was like, oh my gosh, a year ago, I would have like looked at these cinnamon rolls as if they were the best thing in the world. These would have been like, I would be drooling.
Cinnamon
And
roll. Yeah, I get you.
it got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, cinnamon rolls again. But like, I couldn't stop. It was very therapeutic for me. And so, it was great.
And I'm sure now that you feel like you've been, a little bit more back on track, would you say that if someone were to put a cinnamon roll in front of you, you would enjoy it a little bit more again?
Yeah. So now I've cut the baking down to about a week, once a week.
That's pretty
Um,
good.
yeah, but what I've recently done is I will cut the recipes down, and so I usually cut them into threes, and I'll keep a third of it because I like it, and then I've been distributing it to neighbors and friends so that everybody can kind of have a little sweet treat, and it's not overindulging, but it's still something that is therapeutic at the same time. So I'm still getting the fulfillment out of the activity, but I'm not necessarily getting all of the sugar that I definitely don't have the self-control to have in the house. And again, it's a twofold. Other people get to enjoy a little sweet treat. And then I know that next week I can try a new recipe without feeling like I'm overdoing it.
I actually really love that you're doing that too, especially as we kind of come out of the holiday season. I mean, we've still got things like Valentine's Day, and then before you know it, it's Easter again. And oh my gosh, where did the year go? But my point is that I think that a lot of us, especially around the holidays or birthdays, like for me, the people I love, we all have birthdays in like this 3 month span. And for a lot of us, whether it's been, we've had financial struggles or whatever, we want to be able to give to people. And we always think we need to like spend a lot of money to do that. And what you're saying to me is, you can bake cookies and enjoy a third of those cookies and then take some of those to your neighbor or socially distance drop them off at your friend's house or something like that that can
Yeah.
just make their whole day and you got a cookie out of it. Like
Oh, absolutely. I think, and we sometimes look at these really rooted in tradition habits, baking, for example, with our families or our grandmothers or our mothers or cooking in the kitchen. And we're so afraid to do these things now because of, this stigma with weight and sweets and food. And so it really does. I think we talked about this before. It takes the comfort out of it. And so I personally don't want my daughter to live in a world without sweets and without baking with me in the kitchen. And so
you're a
I
good mom.
yeah. So she's about 3 months and I put her in her high chair now. She can hold her head up and she's in the kitchen with me. And so that's what we've been doing is we're baking together. We're still using it as an activity that we are able to bond in. She can smell the goodies and she can't have them yet. She's still on milk. But, once she gets to that point, she'll see. And then we're going to go and we're going to make our cookie boxes this Christmas and, give them out to our friends and family members that it's very cost effective. And it also doesn't apply any level of guilt that comes with gifting during COVID. I know that's something that we have kind of struggled with at home is determining how far do we go this year, or will it be understood that this won't be like other years. And so I've hopefully tried to find a way to integrate nutrition into that. And as you know, the homemade recipes are the best ones, I hope. So and they're the most cost effective. So I'm hoping that that can, just be another way to encourage people to stay positive and indulge.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a really great note to close on, actually. And just, I appreciate you talking to me. We sit and we talk about nutrition and mental health. And I love that we've talked in this about exercise. And we've also talked about the fact that you can still enjoy a sweet. You don't have to do everything to such an extreme. And I think what we're both saying and agreeing on is that ultimately it's about you, it's about your body, and it's your relationship with your body. You don't have to treat it horribly. You don't have to be squeaky clean and perfect. I think that that's almost unrealistic to expect that of ourselves, but we can find a balance within that. And I think that that is a really great thing to, encourage to our viewers and to really anybody, in that we all can get through COVID together. We all can get through the holidays together. We have so much that we're capable of doing within ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a great wrap up.
Thank you. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I really appreciate you being back on the show, Gabby. Thank you so much to all of you at home or work or wherever you are watching. Please, if you have any questions or would like to learn more, check out Gabby's site. Check her out. She's kind of awesome, as you've seen from the show. We'll include her information below in the comments. If you feel like you yourself might be struggling in any regard to mental health or anything like that, please reach out to us at the Mental Health Association. We would love to get you connected with some resources. Big reminder is it's okay to get help. It's okay to need help. And that's what we're here for. That's what people like Gabby are here for. We're all in this to help each other out. And so, with that being said, thank you to you all for watching at home. Thank you, Gabby, for being here. And I will see you all next time. Bye.